Rachel Zegler is extraordinarily woke, but she's woke in a way that's quite deranged.
Just a terrible film that nobody wanted from the beginning. Don't worry.
Everyone who hates when I win, the winged victory came to the Louvre in pieces, and people still line up to see her. And I can only hope that despite my flaws, and despite my cracks and my breaks, and there are many of them, that at every premiere and everything I do, people will wait in line to see.
Rachel Zegler's new Snow White remake has turned into one of the biggest Hollywood scandals in recent memory, and it's all thanks to a string of decisions that left fans scratching their heads. Disney tried to modernize a beloved classic by removing everything that made it magical: the dwarfs, the heartfelt romance, and the fairy tale charm. In their place, they added heavy messages that some people have labeled preachy. Instead of feeling uplifted, plenty of moviegoers felt like they were being lectured. It's safe to say that nobody wanted a stern talking to when they bought a ticket for a Disney film that should have been a whimsical escape. Now, if you're into celebrity gossip and major Hollywood meltdowns, you need to like, comment, and subscribe to Prestige Stories right this moment. We're digging into every twist and turn of this unbelievable drama, from Rachel Zegler's controversial comments to the shocking changes in the Snow White plot. Trust us, this story keeps getting wilder, and we have all the details you won't hear anywhere else. Let's start with Rachel Zegler herself. Many people remember when she landed that career-making role in Steven Spielberg's West Side Story. She seemed like a rising star who could do no wrong. But in the lead-up to Snow White, some of her old social media posts resurfaced, causing a major uproar. She basically told certain political supporters they deserved no peace. Critics said that's a bold statement for the star of a family-oriented Disney flick. Even folks who didn't vote for Trump thought it was extreme. Suddenly, people were asking why Disney hadn't done a more thorough check on her past tweets. If they had, maybe they would have seen the warning signs. Once again, like, comment, and subscribe if you want to hear about the next red flag before it becomes a Hollywood headline. Things got even worse when early reports revealed the dwarfs wouldn't be in the film as we know them. Instead, we'd get magical creatures or some other half-baked idea. The reasoning, according to Disney, was to avoid insulting little people. However, several little person actors fired back, saying this was one of the few iconic roles they could actually land in mainstream Hollywood. They questioned why Disney wouldn't modernize the dwarfs in a respectful way rather than erasing them altogether. Critics like Joe Rogan and Bill Maher chimed in, calling the move an overcorrection. They said it robbed audiences of the fun personalities of Doc, Grumpy, Happy, and the rest. For decades, those dwarfs have been a key part of Snow White's charm, and erasing them felt like removing the movie's heart. Meanwhile, Rachel Zegler wasn't exactly helping. She gave interviews where she criticized the original film's love story, calling the prince a stalker. She seemed to celebrate the fact that her version of Snow White wasn't focused on romance at all, but that romance is pretty central to the story most people grew up with. When the lead actress of a classic remake publicly disses the original version, it can rub fans the wrong way. Many of them said, if she doesn't like the story, why did she even sign on? Some viewers who would have normally rushed to see Snow White in theaters started to lose interest, feeling as though the film had become a platform for heavy social messages rather than a magical escape. And just so you don't miss any more shocking statements from Rachel or other stars, like, comment, and subscribe to Prestige Stories right now. We keep our eyes peeled for all the biggest Hollywood updates. Once the movie finally landed in theaters, the numbers were sad. Disney poured hundreds of millions into this production and expected a massive opening, $150 million or more. But the box office return was way below that, and some reports say it couldn't even crack $50 million domestically. Overseas, it did even worse in major markets like China, where it reportedly made less than $1 million. That is almost unheard of for a Disney release, especially a remake of a legacy title. Usually, even a mediocre Disney film can count on international viewers to boost sales. In this case, though, The new Snow White bombed so hard that even longtime Disney fans were stunned. A lot of them said they simply didn't feel welcome to watch. Rachel Zegler's attacks on certain political groups, combined with the removal of the dwarfs, plus the negativity about the classic love story, made it sound like the film was talking down to the audience. Joe Rogan, Bill Maher, and other cultural commentators jumped on this. They pointed out that people don't go to Disney movies to get a lecture on what's woke or not woke. They want a warm, enchanting storyline with memorable characters. Instead, they got bizarre CGI placeholders, a missing prince, and an actress who seemed to have little respect for the source material. And guess what happened next? Social media exploded. Memes, parodies, and rants about Snow White started clogging up Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube. People who watched the film described it as dull, preachy, or just plain boring. The dwarfs turned out to be CGI nobodies with random designs that lacked the uniqueness of the original characters. Even the songs got bashed for feeling like forced feminist anthems that didn't fit the fairy tale tone. Fans argued that if Disney wanted to tell a modern, empowering story, that's fine, but maybe they shouldn't have hijacked Snow White to do it. After all, if you strip away the dwarfs, the romance, and the sweet innocence, why call it Snow White at all? Meanwhile, insiders at Disney were reportedly panicking. They didn't expect Rachel Zegler's earlier comments to blow up this badly, nor did they think the dwarfs' change would create such a backlash. But the studio got hit from every angle: classic Disney lovers, casual movie fans, and even progressive viewers who felt the film was ironically too hesitant and messy in how it updated the story. If you think the drama ends there, it doesn't. People are already saying this might be the final straw for Disney's endless stream of live-action remakes. A lot of fans feel burned, saying they won't pay another dollar to see a childhood favorite turned into something unrecognizable. By now, you're probably wondering, how did Rachel Zegler handle all of this chaos? Did she apologize or show any sign she understood why fans were upset? She gave a few half-hearted apologies online, but many fans called them insincere. She mostly stuck to the same talking points, insisting that Snow White needed to evolve, and if people didn't like the changes, that was on them. She emphasized that Disney was just moving with the times. But that attitude only fueled more anger from viewers who felt as though their nostalgia was being mocked. Before we continue, remember to like, comment, and subscribe to Prestige Stories if you want more detailed coverage of how big studios can royally screw up a sure-thing project. We're here to bring you every perspective, from outraged fans to baffled insiders, and yes, there's still more layers to this fiasco. So, what else went wrong? Some folks who dragged themselves to the theaters on opening weekend said they saw families actually walking out mid-movie. Children were reportedly bored or confused by the absence of certain iconic scenes. Adults found the storyline dull and the tone strange. Also, many people said the design of the so-called magical creatures was off-putting, like someone threw random fantasy tropes into a blender without a clear idea of how they'd mesh. The same critics who praised certain other Disney live-action films as fun updates were now bashing Snow White for lacking heart. It got even worse when rumors circulated that Disney was fighting behind the scenes about whether to do last-minute edits or reshoots. Some insiders claimed that the studio spent millions more trying to fix the film after initial test screenings were negative. But at some point, the production simply had to release. Joe Rogan teased that the final version felt like a hodgepodge, as though Disney had tried to please everyone and ended up pleasing no one. Bill Maher remarked on how comedic it was to see a children's fairy tale so consumed with identity politics that it forgot to be fun. Naturally, the blame game heated up. Some watchers pointed a finger directly at Rachel Zegler, saying her outspoken nature and harsh words about certain political groups alienated a huge part of the audience. Others blamed Disney executives for caving too quickly to every internet complaint, leading to a half-baked movie with no clear identity. Then there's the crowd who think Disney chose the wrong story to modernize. They argue that if you hate everything about Snow White's original charm, like the dwarfs, the prince, and the fairy tale vibe, you should probably create an all-new character instead of tearing down a classic. If you're nodding your head right now, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Prestige Stories so you can share your thoughts in the comments. We want to hear from you, too. As the box office numbers continued to plummet, the press labeled the movie a certified bomb. Analysts warned that Disney's live-action bubble might be bursting. It's possible that, after so many remakes, some hits, some misses, fans are simply tired of seeing their childhood favorites treated like profit machines. They might be especially wary if the end result is a product that feels like a lecture instead of a magical escape. For Disney, this is a tough pill to swallow, because Snow White was one of their first animated successes back in 1937. Messing up its live-action adaptation is like failing to protect the foundation of the entire Disney empire. Meanwhile, the swirl of gossip around Rachel Zegler's next moves continues. Some people say she might take a break from social media entirely because of the hate comments flooding her accounts. Others wonder if Disney will try to minimize her presence in future promotional materials, or even in planned sequels. So far, we haven't heard any official confirmation that they'll recast her, but Hollywood never stops spinning its